Do you want to take your remote presentations to the next level? In this video, I'm going to introduce you to OBS Studio, a software that is free and that will help you bring so much more into your remote presentations on Zoom, Teams, or whatever streaming or video conferencing platform you're using. So we're going to get started with OBS Studio, and we'll focus on professional presentations because OBS has been used by streamers in the past, by gamers, streaming on Twitch and YouTube, but that's not what we want to do, right? So we'll see how we can use this software to increase the level of our remote presentations. How will we do that? First, we'll look at what OBS Studio is, then what it can do for you with a few examples, then understand how OBS works and what it really is with what I call the restaurant analogy. It's an analogy that I put together and I think explains very easily what this software can do for you. Then I'll show you how it looks like, but very briefly, because this is not going to be a tutorial. It's just a teaser for you to get you curious to learn more. And then at the end, I'll show you also how, if you want, you can learn more. And there is also Fly. That's the live show. Okay, so ready to start. Well, first thing, if we haven't met before, my name is Enrico Zamparo. I'm an engineer and I'm a facilitator, trainer, and moderator. And my mission on YouTube as a content creator and on LinkedIn is to help you become a remote working hero by adopting the technology that works best for you. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing and supporting me if you like the content that you're seeing or that you will be seeing. So let's start from the first point. What is OBS Studio? OBS Studio, as I was saying, what does it stand for? It's Open Broadcaster Software. It's an open source software. That means that, well, first it's free and it's developed by the community. Everyone can chip in and write part of code to further develop this software. I'm not a coding expert. Well, I'm not a coder at all, maybe and probably you're not. So we have to rely on those people who are actually very skilled with this and actually thank them all for having put together such a great software. So the software being put together by the community gets continuous improvements and continuous features. It has started a few years ago as a streaming platform for gamers and for young live streamers who wanted to go live on Twitch and YouTube. But actually, during the COVID, the popularity of this software has raised so much that it's now widely used also by business professionals for their remote presentations. And that's the reason we are here for. Okay, so what can it do for you? Well, you've already seen some things because what you've seen now, this scene, so I'll go back to my starting scene. So this scene here with the music, a live ticker, countdown, is semi-transparent layer, and the camera is built in OBS. You can switch scenes from one scene to the other. You can add graphic overlays, like the one that I've shown you already, or like this one. You can even use it to put graphic overlays to spice up your communication. Like, in Zoom we have reactions, but what if you could actually stand out from the mass and bring in something new, like, for example, applause or a laugh or I love it. So all this can be done in OBS Studio. It's basically your home production studio, like a TV studio, but at home on your computer. At the beginning, well, there is a learning curve with it. You can start actually very simple by having your camera and adding your logo and lower third and sending it to Zoom or Teams. That's very easy to do. Then the more complex setups that are more fancy with graphic overlays, with sharing media and audio requires a little bit of time to learn, but it's definitely possible and many people are already doing it. In the past years, we've been Zooming and Teaming or Google Meeting so much that it's hard to keep the attention, hold the attention, to capture the audience attention. So we have to do more today to engage the audience and to deliver messages in a more efficient and also more entertaining way. People now expect entertaining. You see videos on YouTube and you expect a good quality. You expect people to be lively and use graphic overlays. And these people, like me, are all amateurs, but we have to learn to do that because a lower quality, a lower light or a bad audio quality, a poor communication way will not set you up for success. And especially for important meetings, it could be a job interview that nowadays are done online. It could be your presentation to the leadership team, or it can be your elevator pitch to investors. So whatever needs your attention and really will have an impact on your life, on your job, then it's worth dedicating the time to put together something that will impress the audience and will deliver your message with impact. And OBS absolutely can do that. Okay, so what is this OBS thing? Well, it's a software that you have to download to your PC, Mac or Linux. I'm personally on PC. Is it the only software that allows you to do this kind of things? Well, no. The answer is no. There are other software, and I'll name a few. Maybe you've heard about them already. If you're on a Mac, Ecamm Live is a very popular software. It's actually probably the preferred one by those who work on Mac. Then for PC, there is Vmix, which is also a professional, very popular software. There are other types of software that do, however, slightly different things, like StreamYard, for example, or a Restream, which is the software that I'm using now. Well, I'm using OBS, but I use Restream because it allows me to broadcast, to stream to multiple platforms at the same time. However, StreamYard or Restream, yes, they provide some value, but if you want the full flexibility of putting screen shares and graphic overlays and branded graphics on your video, then you need a different software like OBS Studio, Vmix, or Ecamm. So how does it work? And I put together what I call the restaurant analogy. And let me show you the picture that I've drawn for you. So this is the restaurant analogy. I'm using OBS, by the way. So I clicked on a scene that includes my image, and now the image is showing. So imagine that what you see here, you could actually see it on Zoom or on Teams. Instead of streaming my content and my live now to LinkedIn and YouTube, I could do it exactly the same way to Zoom. So your audience on Zoom could be seeing the same type of interactions and scene transitions. Well, I'll show you also this. I want to bring my masked camera in the video, and well, I have a hotkey, and I can now, let me move a little bit. Now you can see me with a picture-in-picture effect. This is another feature that OBS allows you to do. So why do I call it the restaurant analogy? So think about a restaurant, the restaurant you like. I'm Italian, so I'll talk about nice Italian trattoria. So who do you have in the restaurant, or what are the main locations of the restaurant? There is the dining room, where you have your tables. So let's make it simple. Say you have one table, with your guests sitting at the table and waiting or ordering food and then later on eating the food. And then you have the kitchen where the food is prepared. So in the kitchen, you have the ingredients, your eggs, your vegetables, the oil, the salt. The ingredients themselves do not make a meal or a course. So they need to be put together, assembled, and cooked. And you need the support to cook them. That's the cooking pan. You are the chef. You are the one who is cutting the carrots or the onions and preparing the meat and then assembling all the ingredients, putting them into the cooking pan, and then with your style, with your flavor, preparing a nice course. When the course is ready, the chef clicks or rings the bell, and then the waiter comes, takes the plate and the course and serves it to the table where the guests are waiting. Now, why the hell are you asking me? Why the hell are we talking about food and restaurants and chef? Well, you can see OBS as the kitchen of your restaurant. You are the chef and you are the one who is putting together the content. So your content is your food, the meal that you're preparing. And let me remove the camera. And it's the meal that you're preparing. And the audience is not sitting at a table, but is actually watching your video on Zoom or Teams. So you have your audience and you're proposing food or content to them. You are the chef. You have the ingredients. The ingredients are sources like your microphone, like the camera, your graphic overlays, your screen sharing, everything that constitutes your content, including a PowerPoint presentation. Together, they don't make a presentation, so you have to assemble them. The support that we were talking about, the cooking pan, where actually the ingredients are put and cooked, is called a scene. So a scene, it's an empty box where you will put your ingredients, sources, media. You'll apply filters. So let's say you want to spice up a little bit your course. You taste it. Okay, you're missing a little bit salt. You're missing a little bit chili. You can apply some filters to your sources, like you can make your camera look a little bit brighter, or you can change the font of your text overlays. So you can make it look branded, professional, and to your taste. Now, when your presentation is ready, how do you bring it to Zoom? Well, if you're on Zoom, you just turn on Zoom and then turn on your camera, turn on your microphone, and you start talking. Now, since we're using OBS, and it could be actually Vimix or Ecamm, this works exactly the same for this. The concept is exactly the same. You need something. You need something that takes the content from the kitchen, so from OBS, and brings it, delivers it to the table. That is your Zoom meeting. You do that thanks to other connecting software. These are, when we speak about video, the virtual camera. Probably you've heard about it already. A virtual camera is not a proper camera, but it's like a software that plays a trick on Zoom or Teams. So puts a mask on and knocks at Zoom door and says, hey, I'm a camera. So the fact that it has this mask on, despite it being a software, Zoom believes that it is a hardware, a camera. So instead of taking the signal from your webcam, you select the OBS virtual camera. That is the virtual camera that is bringing all the content from your OBS and putting it to Zoom. Now, everything that is in the kitchen, everything that you've prepared, all the presentation, all the content, all the media, the sound, the graphic overlays, the camera, everything that you do on OBS and that you will be seeing on the preview window in OBS will be streamed or will be brought to Zoom. So people, your audience, instead of just watching your face and your camera on Zoom, they will watch the output of OBS. Well, obviously, you can also just have your camera on and people won't notice at all, because instead of having your camera directly going to Zoom, you can have your camera going to OBS and then going to Zoom. So you can always use OBS for most of the meetings. Maybe you don't need to pimp up graphically your presentation, so you can just use your normal camera. But let's say you are in a meeting and somebody says something interesting, and let me go back to this scene. So you're in a meeting, this is the camera that everyone is seeing on Zoom, nobody's realizing that you're using OBS, but then suddenly somebody says something cool and you do like this and people say, oh, how did you do that? Or maybe you bring up your lower third when you start talking. So you understand how then this takes your presence in Zoom to the next level. The last thing I want to show you is how OBS looks like. So I just need to swap screens. Give me a second, please. So this is how OBS looks like. As I've done in my other videos, say, oh, it's great, right? Well, not really. It's very gray. It must have been put together by an engineer. I'm making a joke because I'm an engineer, so maybe an architect would have done something nicer. So it's all gray. It's maybe a bit intimidating at the beginning, but it'll take you half an hour maybe to start knowing it and getting familiar. And really, trust me, after you spent a couple of hours on it, the results that it will bring to you, it will make you start loving it. Let's have a quick look at what we see here. So, well, maybe you're asking yourself, how is it that I'm streaming with OBS, but I'm showing you an OBS window? Well, that's because you can open two instances of OBS. I'm streaming from an instance of OBS, and then I have another one open that is completely empty to make you see how this looks like. Well, actually, if you want, I'll show you. Let me remove the camera, and now be careful, you'll see this mirroring effect because I will be sharing the screen where my OBS is open. Okay, now you see, well, this window here is that because I'm capturing infinite times the content that I'm streaming to you. Here I have all my scenes, I have all the content, the audio. Okay, so sorry, I got scared because I didn't see my Rodecaster audio meter, and I said, okay, oh my God, I've been on mute all the time. And that's why actually you should always have a headphone monitoring your sound to make sure that this is going through. So hopefully everything is working right. So let me go back to the other screen share so you don't get dizzy by watching the mirroring effect. So, well, this is the most important part, which is the window, the preview window. This is where all the content will appear. And if OBS is made active, so if you turn on your virtual camera and that is connected to Zoom, everything that you'll be seeing here will be automatically sent to Zoom or Teams. At the bottom left, you have the scenes or the scenes panel. You remember when I said with the kitchen analogy, and I'll go back to it for a moment. Sorry, the restaurant analogy. I was saying that you have the different ingredients, but then you have to put the ingredients in the cooking pan. So that's an empty support that will allow you to mix all the ingredients and cook your presentation. So a scene in OBS is the cooking pan. So these are the empty boxes where you're going to put your content. So let me just show you how to do one. So let's create a new one. And for example, I'll call it camera. Actually, I called it camera with text. Now I have an empty box. I have to fill it with content, with ingredients. In OBS, the ingredients are called sources. Let's see what type of sources we have. Well, don't get scared, but there are many, but you'll need only a few. So there is the audio, you can add images, display capture is if you want to share a screen, you can add media, you can add text. And since I called my scene camera with text, let me add some text. So I'll call it lower third. And here I'll write my name. We can change the font. Let's leave it like it is for now. We can change the color. So let's make it black. And I'll make it black because I'll also add a background color. So I'll add my branded color and increase the opacity. Okay, now I've added some text to my video. I can resize it and put it here as a lower third. I'm not adding my camera source since I'm using the camera already to show it to you. So the camera can be used only by one application at the time. Now to this text, but also to camera, we can apply lots of effects. Effects in OBS are called filters. So you can have 3D transform, blur, do green screen effect, luma key, move them around. And let's apply a scroll effect. So, like this, you have a live ticker. Now the text is very small. So let me change the text. Or actually just add some space. Now you have a live ticker like in the live news style. And this is exactly what I've been showing you at the beginning. Let me go back to my previous scene. You see, now you also hear the music, but you see this. This is a live ticker made exactly in the same way. And let me bring in my camera. So the cooking pan, then you have the sources. Here you have the graphic sources. Here there is the audio sources. Then there are scene transitions. Like in a PowerPoint presentation, you can change from one scene to another scene, applying fading or move or stinger transitions, whatever you like. And then, well, I won't cover all the tabs up here, the scene collections and so on. I'll do that in another live if you're interested. Here you see a button saying Start Virtual Camera. So by starting the virtual camera, now OBS is putting together the content and basically ringing the bell, calling the waiter, and making it available to Zoom. This doesn't mean that OBS is already streaming content to Zoom. In Zoom, you have to allow it. You have to say, take the OBS camera content as the Zoom camera. Okay, I think I've given you enough details for now. I hope you found this useful. If you want to know more, so if this got you interested and want to know more and actually already be able to prepare your first OBS scene with camera, lower third, and your logo, and use it at your next Teams or Zoom meeting already, well, you'll need only maybe 15, 20 minutes to learn how to do it. And I have a free course for you that you can just register to on my website, and the link is in the description below. I obviously have also an advanced course for making you a remote presentation hero with OBS with all the content that I'm sharing on YouTube and much more, because you can do really fancy stuff like whiteboarding, making transparent whiteboard effect, adding media, fancy move transitions. So all that you can learn it in my full course that you can also find on my website. So if you found it useful, just subscribe again to my channel. Go visit my website, register to the free course. It's completely free. And actually also the full course, you can preview for free many of the lessons. So I hope I was able to getting you a little bit closer to using OBS. I know that it's a little bit intimidating at the beginning, and many people I know express their interest, but then they are procrastinating and saying, okay, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. So this is the right time for you to do it. If you now want to learn more, well, just watch this next video here.